Africa is the most diverse continent on Earth. When European countries withdrew from African countries in the 50s and the 60s, many tribes were stuck within borders with other tribes, and after self-interest, these tribes and various people aim to become self-governing. Some movements are neglected by the general public, while others are violent with seemingly no end in sight, while being funded and promoted by other countries. How will they end? Anyways, here are the separatist movements of Africa. Like, subscribe, and share please to help us. Thanks and enjoy. There are movements in about half of the countries on the African continent, but the country with the most secession attempts is Ethiopia. Tigray in recent memory is actively looking to become an independent nation. As the civil war broke out in 2020 between Tigray and the overall Ethiopian National Defense Force, Tigray is looking for secession after losing political power it enjoyed for a while. Ogaden, a place of high Somali population in Ethiopia, has been looking for self-determination or to join Somalia since 1984. Other movements in Ethiopia are Oromia and Sidama movements, which surprisingly are allied with the Ogaden groups to combat the Tigray National Front. Afar, on the other hand, has been looking for secession since the late 70s after the takeover of the Derg. Though today the secession attempt may not be taken seriously, you may get a few activists roaming around the Afar region at the Horn of Africa. Down south, a popular secession movement of the Western Cape from South Africa is called the Cape Independence. This separation attempt, which began in 2007, is because the western province of South Africa is tired of the ANC's rule over the country. They believe that the ANC is race-obsessed and the economy is not utilized well by the governing body of South Africa. Detractors say that this movement is race-based, but one could argue that the colours are the majority population, so it cannot be an attempt of creating a white nation in South Africa. Volksstad, on the other hand, is a secession movement that is definitely related to race. It is a concept of self-determination in various areas of South Africa, a place only for Afrikaners. This is said to be derived from high crime, unemployment, and no representation, causing endangered cultural heritage. Other separation movements in the southern region of Africa include Mtwakazi in Zimbabwe, led by the Mtwakazi Republic Party, the Caprivi, which was led by the Caprivi Liberation Army but ended pretty quickly, and Barotseland, a recognized kingdom in Zambia, led by the Barotse Royal Establishment. In 1964, an agreement was made between Zambia and Barotseland to become a nation, with Barotseland granted autonomy. However, as the years went by, the king and the people of Barotseland have felt mistreated, with their name changed to the Western Province and autonomy taken away from them. They claim to be a protectorate of Britain. However, Britain is trying to stay away from this. Zambezia in Namibia is looking for separation, led by the Movement for the Survival of the River Races in Zambezia, Mosuri Raza. The party claims that colonization merged the river races of Zambezia with Greater Namibia, and they need independence. Namibia also has to deal with Rehoboth, a separatist movement led by the Basta people, who are not even recognized as an ethnic group in Namibia. They unsuccessfully declared independence in 1990. Moving to Central Africa, we have the most active and one of the deadliest attempts in Africa. Ambazonia is an unrecognized self-declared nation engulfed in a war with the army of Cameroon, known as the Anglophone Crisis. In a nutshell, Germany was in control of Cameroon but lost control after World War I as they were driven out by France and England. These two countries eventually split up the country into the southwestern Anglophone of Cameroon and the larger East Francophone of Cameroon. When the decolonization of Africa was underway, the smaller Anglophone area of Cameroon was deemed not sufficient enough to be self-governing, so they were given an option to become a part of Nigeria or the larger Cameroon. They chose Cameroon, but wanted to be equal with the rest of the nation. However, the president at the time ignored this, and more advantage was towards the bigger portion of Cameroon. This over the years has fueled the creation of Ambazonia, as the Anglophone Cameroonians feel like they are second-class citizens, as they are barely represented in the government and most official documents are in French. The divided forces of Ambazonia have been in a tense battle with the Cameroonian army since. Another region in Cameroon, Bakassi, is seeking its own independence, as it's been a center of annexation between Nigeria and Cameroon. Eventually, Nigeria passed the country on to Cameroon, but the region is looking for its own independence. Other movements in Central Africa include the Republic of Cabinda, which has been happening for over 45 years, and the Democratic Republic of Lunda Chokwe in Angola, South Congo and Loango in Republic of Congo, Katanga and Kingdom of Congo in the DRC. Katanga tried seceding in the 1960s and was funded by Belgium, looking to capitalize on a poor political structure right after independence. The Prime Minister at the time, Patrice Lumumba, searched for help from America and the UN, but was rejected. This made Lumumba ask Russia for help, who obliged. This angered the Western world. Eventually, Lumumba was placed under house arrest, captured, and sent to Katanga, where he was executed. This then increased tensions, and eventually the movement was quelled after 3 years when the UN increased the pressure to oust the mercenaries fighting for Katanga. It was messy. The Republic of Dar el Kuti was a secession movement in the Central African Republic, which was purely religious. However, violence was ended as the capital city, Kagabondoro, was recaptured by government forces. The proposed Bioko Island in Equatorial Guinea is looking for independence, as the Bubi people believe they are vastly outnumbered by the more ethnic Fang group and are governed by illiterates. This movement, however, is strictly frowned upon, and the party behind it operates in secrecy. Heading to the north of Africa, Libya has a region of Cyrenaica and Tubuland looking for independence. Tubuland in particular is led by the Tubu Front for Salvation of Libya, which operates from Norway. The Rif independent movement occurring in Morocco was revived in 2013 after aiming for separation in the 1920s. The Western Sahara is one of the most sparsely populated places on earth, however it is in conflict with Morocco. After the land area was given up by Spain, Morocco claimed territory over the area, but the people of Western Sahara want self-determination. Led by the Polisario Front, the Western Sahara is backed by the UN, but not recognized by Morocco, who occupies 80% of the land. Kabylia is looking for independence from Algeria, with its leader Ferhat Meheni having an international arrest warrant on him since 2021. He fled from Algeria after the Black Spring event in 2001. This move to independence is because the party believes Algeria is trying to assimilate the Berbers into Arabized Berbers. The people of Kabylia believe they were colonized twice, first by France and secondly by Algeria. In the west of Africa, Casamance is looking for independence from Senegal. The party leading the movement was led by a Catholic priest. However, after his death, the party itself is at odds with each other. Western Togoland is trying to separate itself from Ghana, but has been met with resistance from the Ghanaian government. In September of 2020, signs were erected, welcoming people to Western Togoland. Western Togoland follows the story of Ambazonia, in that after the World War and Germany withdrew from Western Togoland, the people were given an option to postpone independence or join Ghana. They picked the latter. However, over time the group of people are looking to separate from Ghana, with some even wanting to rejoin Togo. In neighboring Nigeria, Biafra is still trying to secede after the disastrous results of the Biafra War from 1967 to 1970. The resurgence of this idea is led by Nnamdi Kanu, while the Niger Delta continues on in ongoing conflict. Another secession attempt is the Oduduwa Republic, which is more of a Yoruba separation attempt. The Tuareg ethnic group in Niger are looking for a proposed state of Agadez, while Mali has Azawad aiming to become its own nation. This comes from the ethnical difference between the nomadic Tuareg and the sub-Saharan population in the same country. This one is messy because the Mali government accused the militia opposing group of being linked to Al-Qaeda, and though the party denied the claims, they got into a scuffle with another military group and lost control of the northern region. Finally, to the east of Africa, Zanzibar, after merging with Tanganyika to form modern-day Tanzania, is looking to be separate once again. Rodriguez, an island in Mauritius, is also looking to separate with little success. In the nation of Uganda, there are ongoing protests for the Kingdom of Buganda. Another island experiencing the attempts of secession is Mayotte. However, they are aiming to separate from France, a nation they voted to remain a department of. Mombasa, an important city in Kenya, is looking to be an independent state, as they believe they have been marginalized by the Greater Kenya. Another movement Kenya has to deal with is a northeastern province, looking to become independent or merge with Somalia. Speaking of Somalia, the country has a bit of history with Somaliland, a de facto state, not recognized internationally. However, it is self-governing with its own currency, military, and flag. Somalia sees Somaliland as an autonomous region, but not an independent nation. This makes it hard for Somaliland to have relationships with other nations. True story is that Somaliland was a recognized country for about a week until it was merged with the neighboring region to form Somalia. And finally, in Sudan, the war in Darfur has been raging for over 20 years and is considered the first genocide in the 21st century. This has resulted in 80,000 to 400,000 deaths, which is considered to be a cleansing of the non-Arab population. It is a result of the African farmers feeling overlooked in favor of the Arab herders. In a nutshell, the harsh climate of the area adds to the dire situation of the conflict. If all these movements were successful, there would be an estimated 95 countries. The reasons for the failure of these secession attempts are usually due to the parent country not wanting to lose valuable resources, also hoping that a successful separation does not inspire other nations to follow in the footsteps. We hope that these movements sprawling all over the African continent are resolved in timely and peaceful manners, as they have affected millions of lives on the African continent. Thanks for watching. Will we see you in the next one?